Hi, He-Man fans. Welcome to this week's episode of He-Man, which is Season 2, Episode 56, Search for a Son. In this episode, we see Mekaneck playing Frisbee with one of the palace children at the palace. And Duncan is there, and the child notices that Mekaneck isn't all that happy, and questions Duncan about it. And Duncan tells him, yeah, he's not happy because he had lost his son a while back. And the child asks about the what happened to his son. So Duncan tells him the story of how Mekaneck was with his son up on the mountain, and goes to, and he's teaching his kid his flute and the flute, and decides he like to play the flute for the king and queen. And Dougie's like, not Dougie, but Mekaneck is like, yeah, that'll be a great honor. Then all of a sudden the storm hits and takes the kid further up the mountain. And Mekaneck goes looking for his son, and he winds up hurting his neck during the storm. And suddenly the pain, hurts real bad, and Mekaneck couldn't continue. And that's when Duncan found him and gave him a mechanical neck that can operate as a periscope. That's my best periscope neck impression. But then all of a sudden, while in the courtyard, the Count Marzo, who has Philip, Mekaneck's son, and after a issue where Philip wouldn't play the flute to help Count Marzo steal, lets Mekaneck know that he has Philip, and in order to get his kid back, he has to bring the king and queen. And Mekaneck doesn't, agree to it. So he gets. But in the meantime, the king and queen are going to go see the bee people about the healing powers of bee pollen. And in the process, the Count Marzo kidnaps the king and queen, and as well as Mekaneck. And so is Mekaneck's son still alive. And then He-Man and Teela and Orko and Mekaneck go to, get together and go and save, go looking for the king and queen, and they find them. And they also get Mekaneck reunites with his son Philip. And it turned out to be a happy happy ending for Mekaneck and Philip. This episode was good. I mean, the moral was kind of offbeat. My conception of the moral of the story was there's nothing like the bonding of a parent and a child. But the PSA at the end was about when Teela slipped on some rocks and Philip tripped on a rock, and it's saying be careful when you're doing any kind of activity. Be careful. That's what they did the PSA about. I didn't get that message. I got something totally different. I got, always believe in the power of a love between a parent and a child. But, don't underestimate that power. But, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But on a scale of 1 to 10, not counting, even if you do count the mess up on the moral, I would still rate this as a high-rated episode of at least a good 8. 8.5 actually. I give it an 8.5. I think it was a great episode. And on that, see you in the next one. Peace.